We've been giving kids the message, just say no to drugs. So why would a mother convince her 12-year-old to take marijuana? Sounds outrageous, but she says it's for his own good. Is it? Here's Chris Connolly.
The minutes of 12-year-old Ryan's day are filled with emotional turbulence and self-destructive behavior, bouts of rage or panic, self-loathing and lethargy. He is living a nightmare, and so is his mother.
Judy, how old was Ryan when you started seeing this kind of behavior that troubled you?
He was 6 years old. He was in the first grade.
Judy Mendoza never imagined that her son would develop such an array of debilitating syndromes, including severe obsessive-compulsive disorder.
Open the door. He became completely incapacitated and incapable of functioning in the regular world. A couple of weeks ago, I pulled into the driveway and he came running out of the house, threw himself down on the hood of my car, said, "I want you to kill me, I want you to run me down, I don't want to live anymore, I can't take this OCD anymore."
What's it like when your son says, "I don't want to live anymore"?
It's the worst thing you could ever hear as a mother. It really is. You want to do anything you can to take your child's suffering away.
Judy says Ryan is pathologically afraid of the wind, of the number 6. Ryan was pulled out of school earlier this year and spends much of his day with an aide, playing video games, as he did with me.
Wait a minute, I'm bleeding. Whoa, that's not good.
Judy says Ryan was treated with a host of drugs and therapies, yet nothing soothed her son. That is what led her to take an astonishing step and give her 12-year-old boy medical marijuana.
My first gut reaction was, oh my God, that seems really out there. That seems drastic. But I don't want to do all these antipsychotic medications anymore. They don't seem to be helping. And I thought to myself, what do I really have to lose?
Judy lives in California, one of 14 states where medical marijuana is legal, purchased with a doctor's okay at one of these dispensaries. Kids don't smoke the drug. It hardly resembles marijuana as it's infused into butter or bread or into a tincture that can be placed under their tongue.
It's like it just takes the edge off of his OCD. It's not like the OCD goes away when he has this medicine, but his ability to cope with it changes.
And what are those moments like for you then?
Heaven, because I get my little boy back.
Judy's not the only one trying medical marijuana on her kid. In fact, she says she got the idea from watching this Good Morning America story. Miko Hester Perez says her 11-year-old, Joey, who has autism, had shrunk to 46 pounds before receiving the drug.
I saved my son's life, and marijuana saved my son's life.
Severe autism so confounds modern medicine that any treatment might seem understandable. But giving pot to a preteen with OCD? Is that why they call it dope?
In what way are you not getting your son high?
Well, the tincture that I give him has a very low level amount of THC in it, and that's the psychoactive part of the plant.
Judy knew she'd be shocking her friends.
You know the culture we live in, though, right?
I know.
Just say no, gateway drug. What do their faces look like the first time you say you're doing what you're doing?
It's like this. Like they're processing it. Like, what? I think if they look at the whole picture and they see what has happened with my child over the years and how close we have come to losing him, literally. It's really just giving them medicine to treat a symptom.
But there are no double-blind studies, the gold standard of scientific tests, to have proven or even shown that marijuana does anything for kids with autism or OCD.
How young is too young to be using medicinal marijuana?
How young is too young to use aspirin? How young is too young to use penicillin?
A retired physician and professor at Harvard Medical School, Lester Grinspoon, wrote the book on marijuana, literally. In the 70s, his son Danny, who had cancer, used the drug to counter the pain of his chemotherapy before his death. Now, he hears from mothers like Miko and Judy, but even he can't say it'll work.
I can't guarantee it's going to do anything, but I can tell you it isn't going to harm him. It is remarkably non-toxic.
You understand how some people hear of a boy taking marijuana and they're going, that doesn't seem right.
It's because we have been brainwashed about this substance. There will come a time when people will recognize that this is a wonder drug of our times. It does so much in terms of relieving some of the symptoms which are very difficult for parents to deal with, let alone the child.
I think the medical marijuana might actually be making their symptoms worse. The medical marijuana might just kind of be sedating them and not really addressing the underlying issues.
Child psychiatrist Dr. Steven Sager at the ECHO Teen Substance Abuse Facility argues that this alternative treatment does present a serious risk for these kids.
With marijuana, there's clear problems that can come up with it, including concentration problems, anxiety, depression. I think with a child, you need to be ultra cautious.
You know who else doesn't think marijuana for kids is such a hot idea? 12-year-old Griffin.
Griffin, what was it like when you first heard that you might be taking medical marijuana?
It was very, very scary, and I didn't want to take it, and I kept telling my mom I don't want to.
Chris Cortez says her son's been diagnosed with ADHD and has trouble focusing in class.
Teachers are very frustrated with Griffin.
Very frustrated.
How do they express that frustration, Griffin?
Yelling. Lots and lots of yelling.
What's it like when you feel like a teacher has given up on you?
It makes you feel bad. It makes you feel like you're a really bad person.
It upsets me. It makes me want to cry.
When Griffin was first diagnosed, he was prescribed Ritalin, but Chris wouldn't give it to him. She says she'll feel more comfortable giving him medical marijuana because it's an organic substance.
I don't want him to take any kind of manufactured drugs, and I kind of went back and forth on it because I don't want people to be upset with me, but then I had to realize that it doesn't matter what other people think. It's my son's health that matters.
What do you hope medical marijuana will do for Griffin?
I hope it helps him to concentrate more so he can learn better in school.
That outcome might not mesh with our image of what young people using marijuana are like in school. But Chris looks forward to starting Griffin on a marijuana regimen before the beginning of the next school year, despite his concerns.
I reassured him that even if it wasn't medical marijuana and it was Ritalin or something else, that he would still be scared. No matter what it is, he's still going to be a little scared until he actually tries it.
As for Ryan, Judy is the first to say that medical marijuana hasn't cured her son.
It's just a piece of the puzzle. It's almost like it's a Band-Aid. When it's difficult to reason with him because he's so upset, that's tough. It's very difficult to see him like that. And that is why I turned to this alternative treatment.
As she's become an advocate for its use on kids, speaking to other families about the drug, Judy says she's also explored another side of marijuana with her son, the side we're more familiar with.
I don't want my son to be high, but he hasn't had a chance to feel euphoria for many, many years. He's lost all his friends, and so I want him to have a little bit of the THC. I really do. I want him to feel some of that euphoria.